Hey, this is Mo Lunsford at Union Grove Lumber Studios.
And this is the Shed Geek. We want to welcome you to today's episode. Okay, welcome back to another episode of the Shed Geek podcast and round number 2 with my friend Jon here. Jon, for those who didn't get a chance to listen to the first episode that you were on, do you care to just kind of remind the audience a little bit about who you are, your company, and what you guys do?
Yeah, sure thing. So we are a shed 3D configurator company, right? So we specialize in creating 3D interactive experiences for online marketing, right? Being able to help customers make those buying decisions when it comes to purchasing a shed. So and you'll hear us repeat this many, many times, right? Simplicity for us is key, right? And so what we do is kind of narrow in terms of, like, we don't do websites and all of these other things, which are fantastic. And there's great companies out there that can handle those. We specialize right on 3D configurators and just making that as successful for our customers as possible.
That's awesome. And the name of your company?
Digital Shed Builder. Sorry.
Okay, I thought you said it. You might have. I might have missed it.
I might have. I don't remember.
Yeah, so Digital Shed Builder. So for those that want to know a little bit more about it, obviously you can go to digitalshedbuilder.com.
Yes, okay. Digitalshedbuilder.com. And on there you'll be able to find examples and pricing and all of that good stuff.
And we actually have a lead form on the newsletter that we send out. So right now we send out an email marketing campaign every Wednesday. But as we begin to, by the time this airs, we will already be into the 3 days a week podcast with Shed Gal on Monday, myself on Wednesday, and Sam Bassett on Friday. So if you're looking to find out more about advertising options or find out who advertises with us, we certainly love to promote our friends, including Digital Shed Builder. You can simply go to shedgeek.com and sign up to be to receive that newsletter. We're calling it a newsletter. It's an email campaign that goes out every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday morning. So that'll give you a quick glance. You can just go down to the display ad that we have on there and click on the lead form. And of course, if you're interested in what you hear today, just enter your information and Jon and his crew will be able to get back with you. So let's get into it. Man, I've got your website pulled up. The graphics. I mean, it's just one of the first things that I notice immediately is the graphics. We talked a little bit about it on the first podcast, but I mean, it's still one of those things that just catches you when you first go to the website. So you have a background in graphics or in art effects and all of these things. Just tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's actually been kind of the real fun kind of aspect of Digital Shed Builder is that our team is principally made up of guys who come from the heart of Silicon Valley, right? So right in the thick of things. My background is, animation and visual effects. My dream, of course, was to work on movies, and I did a couple of those. But I kind of followed the market, and I ended up here. But you speak of the graphics, that is definitely our specialty, right? The technical side, and we do very good at that. Our developers, ex-NASA guys, so. Just a lot of really cool, exciting things on the technical side. But having said that, I think that for us, what's been really exciting is to kind of approach a market, the shed industry, which has a lot of legacy behind it, right? It's been around for a long time, and there's definitely systems that have been, tested and tried, and they work well. And so one of the things that we've been real careful about and just sensitive about it is we don't want to come in and say, hey, look at all this technology. This is what you need, right? We've actually been really, really sensitive about the technology that we build and all of the new features that we put in. We're constantly putting in new features. And normally the way that works is if one of our dealers says, hey, I like this feature and we feel like it's going to apply to like 80% of our group, we'll go ahead and get it in, right? But it's been really interesting, the things that in fact, when we first spoke, it was a year ago, a little over a year ago. if you remember at that time, it's like we just kind of want to meet the shed industry, right? We were just getting our feet wet. We're just kind of getting out there. And in our minds, we had all of this technology that we wanted to build, right? And I think I may have even mentioned something like augmented reality, or using your phone to show it. And of course, all of that stuff is possible. We can do it. But what was interesting is that as we got to meet a lot of neat folks within the shed industry, we began to realize, okay, the things that we thought were going to be like, the killer app component, we're like, well, that didn't really play out, or it's not going to be what we think it's going to be. And so what we've really focused on, I kind of alluded to this at the beginning, is simplicity from the beginning to the end. So the configurator is just like you'd expect most configurators, right? You can change colors, sizes, roofing type, add accessories, windows and doors and things like that. And so in that sense, it's pretty standard. But how you go about selecting those accessories, obviously we've streamlined, made those extremely simple. Again, mobile's always front of mind for us. So we want to make sure that the experience itself is easy, all the way to the pricing. You can find that on our website, but even it's simple, right? And speaking of a little bit of technology without getting too much of the weeds here, and this is kind of an interesting part. When you think about building a configurator, there's really two large components to it, right? There's the front end, and then there's the back end, where you actually have to create the content and do all of that. And if you think about the shed industry, there's constant new styles coming out, new designs and whatnot, right? And so when we built Digital Shed Builder, we really wanted to make it agile enough where we could take those kinds of projects on, because our heart has always been, and I'm sure will always be, is for those single guys who are trying to get a shed business off the ground, right? Where they don't necessarily need everything in the kitchen sink. And they need a pricing structure that they could relate to, they could afford, it made sense for their business.
Are you a dealer who sells multiple products at your shed lot? Are you tired of sifting through clunky or overcomplicated softwares to simply sell a product? If so, it's time to call Cal. Consumer Aligned Logistics is the affordable, simplified, and scalable solution for your shed, carport, or even RTO company. We are partnered with Idea Room and Shed Pro for configurators and have multiple RTO partners to choose from JMag to Heartland to Shed Geek Rentals and Scott's RTO. And if your partner isn't listed here, just ask. We are happy to add more. Give us a call at 425-359-3279 or visit calcanhelp.com. That's CALCANHELP.com.
And so in terms of those two halves, there's the front end, that's what we call the player, and that's what embeds on your website. So your customers can play around with the configurator and do all those types of things. And then, of course, there's the content creation side. So again, for us being tech guys, the real IP for us has been on creating that content. But with that, because we've tooled that to such a degree, everything is simple. Again, pricing, there's no upfront costs, there's no contracts, nothing like that. It's literally just a month-by-month fee. We feel is relatively reasonable. But again, for us, simplicity. And I'll end with this, because when you think about what a configurator is for, right? What the shed configurator is meant to do, it's meant to facilitate a customer buying a shed, right? And so everything about it needs to be geared for that customer decision. And so simplicity plays a huge role in that. In fact, this is a funny story. I think you'll relate to it, Shannon. It was a missionary in Venezuela, right? And in Venezuela, they only had one type of orange juice, and his wife would send him to the grocery store. His wife was actually telling us the story. Would send her to the grocery store, or him to the grocery store, and he'd go get orange juice. There's only one type, and he'd bring it home. Well, they came home for furlough, right? And she sent him to the grocery store to get orange juice. and he's standing there. There's like high pulp, medium pulp, low pulp, vitamin C fortified, right? And he comes home and there's like no orange juice. He's like, hey, where's the orange juice? He's like, just too many decisions, right?
Oh
And
man.
that exact same thing plays out when somebody is using the configurator. Is you just don't want it. You need to give the customer enough information to make an informed buying decision without making it so complicated that you're actually trying to train the person who's doing the purchasing on how to use your configurator. So again, in a nutshell, simplicity really defines kind of who we are and kind of what we've become. And there's a lot of, I mean, it's nice, right? We don't have to overthink things. We don't have to overcomplicate them. But yeah, simplicity is really kind of the heart and soul of kind of what we've accomplished.
Gosh, I love just like your train of thought and sort of how you put that together. I think some, with technology hitting the industry as hard as it is anywhere, any other retail industry, I think that looking at that 30,000-foot view, it almost seems like there's this race to get done everything under one roof. Right. There's this race that either never will be won or shouldn't be won. And I say never will be won just because it seems like the minute we figure it out, there's another change to the industry that you now have to build out and include, especially into industry. If you're doing like full ERP systems, you know what I mean? Like if you want material tracking, if you want something, take a software like NetSuite as a good example. NetSuite, owned by Oracle, doesn't have a 3D configurator, but has all these functionalities to it, from being able to do reporting to being able to develop these different divisions and keep one side of the business agnostic from the other side of the business, so that you can just operate sort of in your own, echo chamber or whatever of like what you're trying to get done, if it's purchasing or if it's hauling. And it's sort of like this race to be like, well, who can get it all done? And then the program becomes so large that the questions start to become like, is it affordable? And if it is affordable, what you said, you got to train somebody on using it. And we found that in the marketing space to be true. We say all the time that like we have to educate. We're willing to educate so that you can understand what you're purchasing, because like you build sheds, you might not do marketing, right? If you build sheds, you might not build 3D configurators. So for you, the question is like, how does it work for me and how simple is it sometimes?
Yeah. And I think too, one thing that we have found talking to the different customers is even within that, shed builder space, there are a lot of different types of companies, right? You got some guys who have, huge areas where they're building tons of sheds. And then you have some guys who are literally going to these properties and building the shed on site, right? And that there's a huge spectrum there in terms of what their needs are even. So and we've internally discussed kind of the same things that you just mentioned there. Like, do we want to build other functionalities out? And it gets really complicated, right? Because like these folks need this, they don't want that. For example, this is a really good example. Right now we have a pricing quote feature in the configurator, right? So as they're using the configurator, all the prices add up and then you've got a final price, right? And we were talking to one dealer in particular, and I was just asking them like, hey, would there be value in going straight to cart, right? Because, from a technical mindset, it's like, yeah, you just do the whole thing online, it'd be super, super slick. And he's like, no, I don't want that. I said, well, why is that? And he goes, the opposite problem happens where you make the sale and then you have to backpedal that invoice because either they put it in the wrong where location and where they're at, and so there's a more of a fee to actually ship it to them or whatever the case is. And so he says you're going to actually, in his case, particular case, he was finding he was backpedaling it, right, trying to. So there was no win for him there. And so to your point, you have all of these pieces and they're all really fascinating, right? Just from a technology standpoint, we could spend all day, right? But at the same time, again, this is for us simplicity. It's like, what are they all meant to do, right? It's to drive customer buying sheds and ultimately making money, right? So again, for us, all of those areas are fascinating. And we do have, for example, the ability to connect to webhooks, technical term, to be able to transfer data from one platform to another. So folks can integrate with us extremely easily. Embed an iframe, and then some of them have like really complex websites, and they can use the webhook and they can do the processing on their end.
Are you ready to elevate your shed business to new heights? Your pathway to success just got a whole lot smoother with ShedSuite's innovative marketing platform. At ShedSuite, we like to think we understand the shed industry at least a little bit. And over the last 7 years, we've been building awesome software for shed businesses. We focus first on building easy-to-use software to help you create and track orders, like the point of sale and after the sale order fulfillment. And now we're excited to announce our full-feature CRM, all things pre-sale, like prospecting and follow-up, all to empower your shed company to market better and sell more efficiently. Our platform empowers you with a marketing toolkit designed to amplify your online presence, engage your audience, and drive sales like never before. Enjoy the ease of conversion tracking, email marketing, centralized lead communication, and so much more. Oh, and guess what? It even comes with an iPhone and an Android app. With ShedSuite's marketing platform, crafting and deploying effective marketing campaigns is a breeze. The advanced reporting functionality allows your team to analyze real-time conversion data so you can make informed decisions and watch your business flourish. There's no better time than now to join the community of shed business owners who are scaling up with ShedSuite. It's time to turn your marketing efforts into real trackable results. Visit shedsuite.com/marketing to get pricing, explore the features, and book a demo. ShedSuite is committed to building top quality software to empower your shed business to thrive.
And we have some guys, in fact, I can share my screen here and just show you a couple of examples. But it's kind of all over the place. And it really, and again, because we're simple in the sense that we're just a configurator, we can just really quickly plug in without having to worry about a bunch of overhead in terms of development and getting connected with their developers, which can be a hassle as well. So let me just share my screen here. So this is one of our customers. You can see this is our configurator, and it, as I described, it's pretty much like any other configurator that you've seen in the sense that it's got changing of sizes, siding types, roofing types. Of course, you can rotate it around. But what's really neat is this is actually embedded on our customer's website. So you can see they've got several different series. Let me show you this one here. Again, we can do different styles. It's funny, my kids will be driving around and they'll see a shed and they'll be like, "Dad, can you do that one?" And I'm like, yep, we can do that one. It's amazing too, some of the ones that they've showed me. I'm like, I'm like, why, right? And they're like, somebody liked it, right? It's like, but why? But anyway, so this is one use case where they have it actually embedded on their website. And then because of the webhook, their customer can actually, I think on this one, they can actually take it all the way to purchase, right? Okay. But that's outside of our platform. But we do provide through that webhook the information that they would need. And so this is more of a customer that's more advanced in the sense that they have a really well-built website, and they have all of those kind of marketing components in place. And then we have other customers who are whose sites aren't quite that way, right? And so we're able to embed via what we call our widget, our thumbnail widget. And what they would do is they just place the widget on their website. It gives them the thumbnails. The thumbnails come from our platform, and then they would click on it, and it would take them to the configurator that way. So again, we're really, really trying to make sure that our product is simple enough and structured enough where we can actually start plugging into some of those other marketing components that you were talking about just a few minutes ago. So anyway, hopefully that kind of gives you a sense of how we integrate into the different platforms. And again, we get so many requests for different features and stuff, and we're constantly trying to update it. One of the ones that we're currently looking at is to integrate into scheduling software so that people can actually schedule a meeting. Because again, for us, the most important bit of all of this, right? So for example, if a customer likes this, they can, click a button and it, pulls up a form and then sends that. But the really neat thing about that is that now connects you to the customer, right? And that's the most important part, is that connection to the customer. So anyway, again, hopefully that gives you kind of real quick look at kind of how we're set up and we
Now,
integrate.
you can basically have that webhook so that you get the information premature to building the shed, or do they have to build out the shed in order to get that? What's the normal process or the normal request?
So the user journey is, you have a person who wants to buy a shed. They come to your website. They go through the configurator. They pick the style, the siding, the colors, and all of that. And then when they submit the quote, right, there's a submit a quote button. Once they fill that out and they hit send, a couple of things happen. So one of the things, if you've got a webhook that's ready for it, it'll send the information. It'll also send you an email letting you know all of the parameters for that shed that the person selected. And then we also have like a member page where you can go in and you can check basically past history. So we have a little bit of redundancy there. That way you don't get a quote and it goes to your junk mail for whatever reason, right? And then you miss it. So there's some redundancy built in there. But that in a nutshell is the kind of the customer journey in terms of how, again, it's straightforward and simple, but it's very effective. It's very, very effective.
We've certainly found from a marketing perspective, really excuse me, having access to that information is just so important if you have a good sales process. Like all these conversations, John, come down to like, if you're maybe $1 million, dollar dealer or something like that, $1 million manufacturer, smaller mom and pop, talking about $1 million in revenue, not P&Ls, but just
Right.
like, hey, we generate about $1 million in revenue through sheds through here. You become the sales person, the marketing person, the builder, the hauler. Sometimes you're running multiple, wearing multiple hats. Whereas you get into the larger operations, they begin to dissect the different departments, where you have now a marketing department, you have a sales department, you have a hauling, somebody who's over logistics, whatever it looks like. So as you begin to get bigger, you can start to spot the difference in that marketing and sales. Like that's the one thing we say all the time is like, we can bring you leads, we can't sell them for you kind of thing.
Right.
Here at Identigrow, we have been providing custom nameplates for the shed and furniture industry for over 20 years. We are so pleased to know that shed manufacturers see the value in expressing their shed brand to potential customers using an Identigrow nameplate. When you add an attractive decal to your product, you will more than pay for the cost with increased sales. Clients will not only be able to identify the shed brand, but it will help to brand and advertise to potential customers who can easily see the nameplate, and in many cases, find a phone number or website to shop for themselves. At Identigrow, we are happy to continue to serve and invite you to visit our website at identigrow.com or give us a call at 540-283-9193. You can even fax us at 540-283-9194 or visit our website by clicking on the Shed Geek newsletter and then simply fill out some basic information for a free catalog or free samples. Thank you, Shed Industry, for allowing us to serve you in identifying your sheds. Identigrow. Identify your products. Grow your business. We have found just the importance of having a 3D configurator is absolutely necessary in the marketing process. If you're running ads specifically towards consumers and you're trying to get them to get on and play around with the 3D configurator so that they can, put their data in there, they can put their information in, and it gives you opportunity to follow up. Even if you don't follow up right away, or you don't call them 15 times in 15 days, they go into an email drip campaign or something, you stay top of mind, you're aware, you're there, and they've already built this. So like as a salesperson, you have lots of information at your fingertips to say, hey, I know it's been 6 months, Mr. Jones, but I noticed that 6 months ago, you went on our configurator and you built a 10 by 16 utility shed that you were looking to house your lawnmower in. I was wondering, have you ever got that fixed? Or again, running a drip campaign or running something so that you just stay top of mind. Super imperative, right?
Yeah. In fact, one of our customers actually put it really well. When he looks at the configurator, when he thinks of the configurator, he literally thinks of it as another sales guy, right? That's how he put it. He's like, my configurator is, because again, it was a one-man shop, right? And he was doing all this, like, this is my sales guy. And that's what I was saying about it being effective. It can be extremely effective. Of course, you need to be able to drive traffic to it, because that's, some of our customers have had challenges there. And I know you and I have talked about, possible solutions there. But yeah, as long as you're driving traffic to it, and in a lot of ways, it really is acting as that sales funnel or that sales guy doing that for you. And then, of course, you collect that information at the end, and then you action on that information. But yeah, the configurator, you can't stress enough just how effective it is, especially online. In fact, we have one customer who does chicken coops, right? So the way that our platform, yes, we're digital shed builders, but we can literally create anything. That's kind of how robust our system is, and it's really fun. But we did chicken coops, and she went from virtually no sales to, like, now I think every day she's getting a new lead, right? So it can be. I'm not saying that's going to be for everybody,
Right?
I'm just saying that it can be extremely effective, especially when you have it in concert with other good marketing strategies, right? So yeah, no, it's very, very. I think even I've been surprised just about how effective it's been, right? Because you tell yourself, yep, it's going to be effective, but when rubber hits the road, it's been pretty neat.
Well, it just seems like, well, I mean, I always go back to, like, communication, community. That's the purpose of, much of what we're doing here. So, like, you're creating community, whether it be through publication, through podcast, even a 3D configurator. It's creating community, and people say, well, how ultimately is it you doing that? Well, primary communication tends to be, it's a little different when we get in front of each other, isn't it? Like, when we're actually in front of each other, communicating, talking, reading body language, all of these different nuances. Like, there's a reason why in-person meetings are prime communication. But after that, it's video, the emergence of video calls and the .com boom, and, like, us being able to get on here on a Zoom call, on a podcast, on whatever it looks like, and be able to have these discussions. Even you showing me, you know what I mean? Like, in real time, like, how the configurator works. It's because you seeing it brings a whole different, like, level of awareness, I think, just to your psyche. Like, I know that sounds really, really intense, but I mean, let's be honest. Like, if you could watch a video of one of your favorite singers, or watch a movie, or that's why a lot of times people go watch a movie based off of the book or something. They're like, it wasn't as good as the book because my own imagination did what it did when I was reading, and it was way better than what the producer did, right? But that's, it's just, we want to be able to see, because I've sold a lot of times, John, and it's like, well, what's my shed going to look like? And it's like, it's going to look like the one out in the yard. If you look out the window there, that one's a 10 by 16. Only yours is going to be a 10 by 20. So just imagine, if you will, in your head, it's 4 foot longer, and then it's a different color. And then you've got a window on the back, or there's a door on the front, and you're doing all of this. And the best I can do is scratch it out on a piece of paper. And hey, that works. It's just, it brings a different caliber of, like, awareness of what they're purchasing whenever they can see it.
Yeah, it makes it more tangible, right? And
Yes.
it takes that imagination and you furthers it along, right? Because now you're seeing it. Now you can better imagine it right in your yard. And the other really good component to the configurator is the fact that you can do it anytime, right? So, like, in a sale one-on-one, right? You can't meet anytime, right? And that was one of the things that we have really learned about the shed industry just in general, is just how busy it is. Like, I don't think I've met a more busy, working group in my life. That's just busy, busy, busy. And so to have that ability for your customers to just hop on their phone or whatever at their convenience makes that sales process flexible, in the sense that it can be any time, right? You can have a lead come through, as opposed to having to jump on a call and actively make that sale, which works too. But it just adds one more layer to your sales process, being able to sell, more sheds effectively.
Yeah, especially like you said, it's on your website. It's like adding a salesperson without adding the cost of paying them to be there with the customer. I mean, the customers are late night shopping, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night. Next thing you know, especially if they catch an ad, or, you know what I mean, they just happen to visit a website, and they go through the process, right? They go through the funnel. They see your embedded click here, build yours now, whatever it looks like on your website. And next thing you know, they're in the rabbit hole. They're just going down the rabbit hole, and they're like, oh, look at this. You can do this. Today, we have something truly groundbreaking to discuss. The Zula from Mobino Solar Solutions. This incredible shed ventilation system is set to redefine how we approach air circulation and energy efficiency. A shed ventilation marvel. With 3 robust fans generating 630 CFM, 2 fans usher in a breath of fresh air, while 1 strategically expels staleness. What's groundbreaking? It's solar powered. Harnessing the sun's energy, the Zula is a sustainable dream eliminating electricity costs. Sleek, powerful, and eco-friendly, this system is a game changer for those seeking efficient air circulation without compromising on green values. Visit Mobino's site for more of this innovative solar shed ventilation solution and use the ShedGeek10 for an extra 10% discount. Just visit www.mobinosolar.com. And then you guys do like not just sheds, chicken coops, like you said. You guys have gotten into some other stuff. I noticed they had like a sort of like a horse arena or something like that, like a riding arena on that last one. But like,
yeah, we've done quite a few things. So we did chicken coops. I think we did greenhouses. We even did a play set, like a swing set, as well. And again, but that just speaks to kind of the amount of technology behind us to be able to create those things. So like, just to give you an example, we don't have a library that we pull from. Not that like if there's a window that we already have or a door that we have, of course we're going to reuse that. But each one of our customers' configurator experiences is 100% unique in the sense that we build it from scratch. But again, the technology to actually facilitate that, obviously on our end, is pretty impressive. But because of that, it allows us to do some of these more, outside of the shed industry kind of stuff, to the point now we're even talking potentially down the road doing mobile homes, right? It's all kind of conceptually from a math standpoint, if you will, the same thing. So yeah, no, it's been really interesting because we'll have customers who are like, hey, can you do this? And like, I think so. Let's give it a shot, So then we'll do it. And so far we haven't failed. There have been, and I'll be honest about this, there have been a couple of roof configurators that took us a minute to figure out, especially where you have like crossing peaks and different, heights on the peaks and stuff, where it became a little bit more challenging. Some of the roof, the siding materials have been kind of interesting to try to do. But so far we've been successful in doing all of them. So let's hope that trend continues.
Oh, that's great.
But yeah, it's really fast. It's like, the fashion industry, right? There's just so many different potential options that you could do at the end of the day. So.
And then carports, that was one thing. Carports and sheds kind of go hand in hand. They're like the cousin to the shed industry for sure. It's hard not to find a shed dealer who doesn't offer carports as well. So I've noticed you've done those as well.
Yeah, we have done those. I will just say this about carports versus sheds is that we have found carports to be far more complicated in the sense that there's all these nuanced options within them. So we have done some, but not many, right? And again, part of that is because our philosophy is simplicity, right? And so it's not that we're hesitant to get into that particular vertical. It's just that we want to do it right? And so we're kind of working our way, trying to make sure that the configuration or the configurator experience that we build really serves its purpose, right? Which is driving sales. So, but yeah, again, we can pretty much do anything.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Shameless plug here, Jonathan. We started doing some advertising for you guys. Has it worked well?
Yeah, in fact, I would say not only that. So going back to our original meeting where we had the podcast, was like a little over a year and a half ago, whatever. We weren't sure what the result would be, but it was really neat. I'm just telling you how it was. It was really neat. We didn't get a lot of leads, but the leads that we got were super quality. And what happened was we connected with those folks, we sold the product, and then it really ballooned from there in terms of outreach. And then again, now you're starting to run these campaigns, again, very effective. And again, the leads that we're getting are really quality leads. I think we've converted like 80% of them or something like that.
Awesome.
I mean, that just kind of speaks to the quality of the leads that we're getting. So yeah, I mean, what you guys have helped us with in terms of us getting it off the ground and getting out there has been unquestionably the best thing that's happened to us. So
oh, that's awesome, man.
The platform
awesome.
you have is amazing.
Well, I'll tell you what, it sort of speaks to like just sort of following, obedience is greater than sacrifice. I say this all the time. I'm a big fan of like not so much what does it cost me, but like what does God want me to do? And if I can just like hear that voice, and everybody always says they just want to be like, hey, Lord, just make it obvious to me, just spell it out to me, right? And that's what faith is all about. And I'll tell you what, man, it's been 3 years now, and it's exciting to see not only where it's gone, but where it's going. And I just really just enjoy the ride, enjoy the journey as much as anything. I don't want to look back and forget about the times I enjoyed, the friends I made, the conversations that have happened. And I think that sort of speaks to probably the quality. We try to build a really, really trusted name. We're in front of everybody a lot, so we're accountable.
Right.
What you see is what you get. We can't be doing one thing, saying another kind of thing. So that keeps us accountable. We appreciate that.
Hello, shed sellers. Did you catch the latest Real Work Labs interview with George Converse? If not, don't miss this value-packed episode. Head to Shed Geeks Podcast YouTube and search Real Work Labs. George and the Real Work Labs crew are riding the wave of Google's latest updates, taking your digital presence to the next level. We're tech artisans crafting your neighborhood brand voice for shed sellers like you to stand out, gain trust, and get found online. Our software will easily capture your work snapshots, videos, weave your craft's story, and get reviews all in one virtual experience. Our innovation goes beyond getting found for your business location, rather getting found for your work locations. Reviews intertwine with their corresponding job sites. When potential customers seek local expertise, you're the proven solution they'll find. It's high time to map your reviews and showcase your beautiful work in a meaningful way that builds trust in customers' neighborhoods. Ready for the journey? Visit shedgeek.realworklabs.com or call George today at 480-787-7575. Real Work Labs, elevating your trust, increasing your conversions, and getting you found where you work in the neighborhoods you serve, one shed at a time.
Yeah, just having guys like you find the industry, coming from Silicon Valley, and the next thing you know,
Right.
Somebody was like, "Hey, can you guys build this?" And you're like, "Let's take a shot." And the next thing you know, you're involved. You're here.
Yeah,
multiple clients in, and you're like, "Hey, we're part of the industry here, guys."
Yeah, and again, I think coming from the Silicon Valley, it was a bit of a culture shock in terms of the folks that are in the industry, right? I mean, when I say Silicon Valley, I was in Mountain View, right? I'm in the heart. I'm like 2 blocks from Google, 2 blocks from Microsoft, right? And so, meeting these folks who a lot of times are kind of really rural. It's just been really fascinating to get to know these guys, and again, to get familiar with. And again, honestly, I don't think I've ever met a harder working group of guys. It's just been pretty neat to see.
Yeah, it's nice to find a home. A lot of the morals fit certainly with my morals. So like it's a no-brainer. I wake up every day and I'm not concerned about what I do. I enjoy what I do. It's fun. You get to have fun. And you build genuine relationships. Man, I've built some lifelong friendships and relationships with people who, it's literally lifelong. I just know that I'm going to be friends with some of these guys for a really long time. So, and gals. So
yeah, and even with our customers, yes, we're a business. We have to make money. But to your point, I think the most rewarding component has been meeting these guys like one of our customers who would, sent us a Christmas card and was sharing about his family. Just absolutely wonderful, right? So for me, that to your point, that's really where the value is at. And in fact, if you call us and you chat with us, that's what you'll find about us. We're just a really kind of relaxed group of guys that just want to succeed and have fun and really build those relationships. Because at the end of the day, like you say, that's what really matters.
Yeah. Yeah. I talked a little bit earlier about the all-inclusive, the, kind of all-in-one. I know that's something that you guys aren't necessarily moving towards. What about collaboration efforts? Have you considered or thought about, if you can benefit a customer through collaborative efforts with your 3D configurator who maybe have a system that's all in one, or what are your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. Again, we want to specialize in what we specialize in, but if there's any kind of opportunity to collaborate, to tie into software, we love a good challenge, right? So, if it makes sense for us from a business standpoint, absolutely, that we have had some folks say, what about X? And you're like, I don't know where that idea came from, but we'll give it a thought, but no, yeah, we would love opportunities. And it, like we were just talking about, even in those opportunities, maybe we can't, for whatever reason, can't integrate or whatever. Sure. But you're still building relationships, right? You're still learning, you're still trying to understand the market. So yeah, we're open pretty much to any opportunity, just kind of explore things, get to know what's out there.
Well, that's great. And hopefully, maybe some of the industry will be able to see you like at a industry trade show or something in the future. I know.
Yeah, we're trying. I think we made it being at I can't remember the name of the show off the top of my head here in Wisconsin here in September.
In Michigan, the Shed Expo.
Michigan, there you go. Yeah, so we're just in the beginning stages of that. I think we have to the end of the month, so we don't have 2 weeks to actually finally register. But it's really likely that we'll be there.
That'd be awesome. It'll be nice for
fun.
Yeah, to be, it's just a big time for everybody to get together and kind of hang out. And I guess in some ways put your competition to the side, but at the same time also put your competition out front, right? Like you want to compete and like do the best you can.
No, for
but
sure.
Then at other times you get to build relationships with so many people, but that in-person communication means so much. And I think it's awesome. So, yeah,
I think for us, it's going to be a really educational experience, right? Yes, we want to share what we've built and we love what we've built. But again, for us, I think, being relatively new to the industry, I think for us, it's going to be a real eye opener and just a really enjoyable time just to meet the folks, even other folks that may be doing configurators. I don't know, right? I just think it's gonna be fun. So I'm really looking forward to it.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Well, I love it. Before we get to the last part of the show, I'll let you do some, I don't know if I did this last time. I don't know if I was doing this whenever you were on the show. So normally what I do is tell people, hey, I spend time asking you questions and being a host and interrogating and all these things. And it was a suggestion that was made to me, and I thought, yeah, it's a great idea, and I want to do it. Give the guest an opportunity to turn the microphone around, play host for a minute, ask a question, whether it's podcast related, shed related, life related, really doesn't matter. So 1, 2, 3 questions that I can elaborate on if there's anything that comes to mind and I can seem to offer any valuable input. But before I do that, anything else that you want to say to the guest, where they can get a hold of you, how they can contact you, or just anything you feel necessary to share?
Yeah, for sure. Again, simplicity is key, right? Just check us out, digitalshedbuilder.com. You'll find our phone numbers on there. There's a submit form where you can submit your information. Julie will get you set up with a meeting, and we can chat with you, and we can kind of get you set up. Again, it's a really easy process, not intimidating at all. So yeah, really look forward to chatting with you.
Perfect. So any questions that come to mind for you? Anything that's shed? I don't know, marketing, RTO, consultative.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask you a question that comes to my mind specifically. Okay. And again, it's not necessarily shed related, but the things that you mentioned in terms of like RTO, these are all things that we're learning these acronyms and stuff as we go, and we're kind of like, oh, that's cool. Okay, that's interesting. So, I may not have any questions for you right now, but I guarantee you I will as we progress here. But it's not so much a question, but it's been something that Julie, my wife, and I, as we've kind of gone through your content, have just really appreciated is your approach to business, your podcast. Because from our perspective, you look at it like your ministry, right? And I am very much a man of faith, and we kind of look at what we do the same way. Obviously, we're a configurator in your podcast, but we were talking about relationships earlier. That's one of the things that we have really enjoyed talking to you and talking to the industry. Is just how many folks of faith are in that industry. Again, coming from Silicon Valley, that was mind blown, right? But that's been really enjoyable. So again, it's not a question. It's just more of an observation to say, keep doing what you're doing, because it's really amazing. I think last time I was able to share at least part of my testimony or whatever. Like when I jumped on, that didn't even cross my mind, right? It's like, wow, what an amazing opportunity that you have, right? Your platform is just amazing. As is ours to a lesser degree in terms of we don't communicate nearly as much as you do in terms of podcasts and things. But it's just something that Julie and I have really enjoyed, especially coming from Silicon Valley. It's just something you'd never run into, right? So anyway, again, not a question, just
I'm not worthy of the kind words. I always try to point the good toward the Lord. Like I tell people all the time that if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have this platform or wouldn't have any opportunity. I couldn't get up and walk out of this room if it wasn't for his permission. Yeah. So like it's some people would say, well, I'm never tempted. I'll say, oh, of course, ego always tempts. There's no way it doesn't. For those of you that don't have it, that's amazing. But I do. You know what I mean? And it's impossible at some point not to be like, wait a minute, I did this for my hard work, my efforts, this, that, and another. And it's really easy to get caught up into that. And I think I've just spent a lot of life doing that. You know what I mean? So like, why not try it a different way? And what you find is that, like, again, trying to stay in tune with the Holy Spirit and just like listen to what it's telling you and try to follow obediently. And like, don't get so caught up in but God, what about this? But what about that? What you know what I mean? Because it's so easy for me to do those things. But yeah, I say I probably grew up and it seemed like I was looking at this world of religion, if you will, where it was kind of like, God's over here on Sunday. On Sunday mornings, it's in a box, and religion's something you do. Faith is something you do. It's a place, church is a place you go. And then it's like, wait a minute, why aren't you taking church with you everywhere you go? It's like you should be going there to get stocked up and filled up, and so that you can go out into the world and like, you know what I mean? Like make an impact.
I know what you mean.
I've failed.
On Sundays, right? The Spirit works all week, right?
Yes.
So,
and I've failed so many times, John. I've failed more times. Here's the thing: like God is like, it's like, it says he puts a song in your heart, and I always like to say that, like, that song is meant just for you. Like only you can hear that song. No one else gets to hear your song. But we all have our own song that he puts in our heart, and I've always said, it's almost kind of like, I know he's a God of a sense of humor too. Because it's almost like
no doubt.
It's kind of like, Lord, the fact that you would put me on this platform, that's hilarious. Almost, it's like the song that me and him sing together. Because I'm like, it's not me, anyone else, but not me. So like, I just appreciate you guys and faith, and like not having to hide faith, like in this world that is so troubled and it is so unsturdy. And it is just so like it changes that, like, it's really nice to have like a sovereign God that we can go to, and it's like it's steady and consistent. And although I'm imperfect, he still loves me. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's an amazing thing. And like I got to remember to be a vessel, and man, he provides opportunity
unbelievably.
Like it's nobody's business.
Yeah. Anyway, I may have put you on the spot there.
No,
but
you're good, dude. I
really loved about you.
Not worthy of the kind words, but I appreciate them nonetheless. And I think that's a perfect way to end here. I know you've got a hard stop. What do you say we pray our way out of here? And me and you'll connect soon. I'll let you know a release date on everything, but appreciate all you guys are
Okay.
doing at Digital Shed Builder. I think it's awesome.
Appreciate it.
Your price point's great. Your graphics are great. And honestly, you guys' attitude's great. So it means a lot.
All right, fantastic. Yeah, thanks. Would you like me to pray us out?
Oh, yeah, go for it, man. Absolutely.
Our gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for who you are. We thank you for what you've done. We thank you for how you're working with Shannon and with us and all the opportunities that you're providing. We thank you for your sovereignty. We thank you for, again, for who you are in your son's precious name. Amen.
Amen. Appreciate so much you guys being on. Be sure to tell the rest of the team I said hello, but always appreciate a conversation, and we'll do this again sometime.
All right, fantastic.
All right, John. Have a great day. We'll talk to you soon.
Hey, this is Mo Lunsford in sunny Union Grove, North Carolina, and we want to say thank you to all the guests and listeners.